Welcome, everyone. I'm Gray Robinson. This presentation is something you won't see every day. A couple of 70 somethings talking about artificial intelligence. Although at my age, I need all the intelligence I can get, whether it's artificial or otherwise. I've been a lawyer for almost 50 years. When I started practicing law, there wasn't any technology. I've written briefs by pen, by typewriter, and by computer. Let me ask you a question. How many people feel like they don't have enough time? Not enough time to get their work done, not enough time to have a private life, not enough time to have a successful career. At the peak of my career 20 years ago, I had a nervous breakdown. And if you flirt with exhaustion and you feel behind, trust me, I know how you feel.
My name is Pamela Deneuve, and I have spent the last 30 years coaching lawyers to help them to stay steady and focused and alive in a profession that never stops demanding more. But today is going to be very simple. We're here to take the fear out of AI, not with pressure, not with fancy tech talk, but with truth and with clarity. And how about a few laughs along the way?
How many people would agree that lawyers have resisted every new tool since the first quill pen and they hung their shingles outside of their cave? And yet, here you all are, still standing, still adapting, still thriving. Pat yourself on the back for having made it this far.
I'm going to take you on a fun walk through legal tech history. First, let's start off with shorthand. I remember taking Greg shorthand myself. That was the original beginning. And when lawyers said, "Oh, you mean I can think and someone else will write while I think?" The attorneys would drone on and on and on, and the secretary would take copious scribbles and then come back with a typed, produced letter or document.
And then came dictation machines. I don't know if you remember those or not. Giant metal rectangles that hum like refrigerators. Secretaries couldn't understand half the words lawyers recorded, especially when they were from the South and they didn't move their lips. The lawyer would just hand them a floppy disk, literally a floppy disk, and then they played it back at their secretarial desk. Lawyers stared at those newfangled machines the same way people stare at artificial intelligence today: suspicious, annoyed, threatened.
So those secretaries that took that shorthand, they went and typed out the document on a manual typewriter. But if you hit the wrong key, the whole page was ruined because you had to use the dreaded eraser, which many times smudged or tore the paper. And the secretary had to start all over again. This was the birth of lawyer and secretary anxiety, trying to meet a deadline while the secretary has to start typing that document on the manual typewriter all over again.
And then imagine the heavens parted and a bright beam of sunlight came down and spotlighted the newest technology: a big bottle of whiteout or liquid paper. It was actually invented by a secretary named Betty Nesmith Graham. And support staff across America cheered like they were at the moon landing.
So, how many of you all have witnessed these changes? As Gray and I said earlier, he and I are in our 70s, so we've been around a while. But there was electric typewriters, which were replaced by word processors. I actually remember typing on a Wang myself. Then came along email. Lawyers were required to type their own emails. Many of them didn't even know how to type. And so they were hunting and pecking with their fingers and grumbling, like, why did they have to type these things when their secretaries could do it? Then case management software appeared, cloud storage came on the scene. But every single advancement brought on two reactions. One, I'm not learning that. Two, I don't want to learn that. And three, how did I ever live without this?
I want to tell you a little story about my father, who was my senior partner. When we started using emails, he was well into his 70s, and he would type all of his emails in capital letters. Everyone would tell him that was rude, and it was like he was shouting at everyone. He replied he didn't care because he couldn't read the small letters. And that is exactly what is happening in attorneys' offices all over the world with artificial intelligence.
Now, I want us to be very clear. This is an educational process. AI is here not to replace professionals, but it is here to replace the part of the legal work that is draining and drains the life out of you.
How many people hate filing and hate document retrieval? Artificial intelligence drafts, summarizes, organizes, files, uploads, rewrites, categorizes, analyzes, researches, and handles repetitive tasks. The stuff lawyers and their staff procrastinate on, dread, or just avoid entirely. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
You know, this is going to return your time. We do know what you're talking about, Gray, because some of our attorneys, by using AI, have actually changed a 4-hour dreaded workday into a 4-hour workday that allowed them the rest of the time for meetings, for strategy, working with staff, time to judge, time to organize, time for thinking, and even time for breathing.
And Lord knows lawyers and their staff need more breathing, a lot more. So let's just take a deep breath right now. Don't you feel better?
I do. So I'm going to be honest right now. I do not like change. I have resisted change many times in my lifetime, believe me. And people resist new technology as I have because change makes us feel insecure. It threatens our confidence. It makes us feel behind even before we even get started.
And lawyers especially, because with them, there's a lot at stake. There's no room for mistakes. Bless their little hearts, lawyers want to be the smartest person in the room. And new tech makes them feel like kindergartens again, or even worse, first year associates, until they try it and realize that it will make them smarter and wealthier, not smaller.
So listen, human resources and professional development are the heart of this new transition. And we're not here at all to tell you to force AI on your firm, if that were even possible. But we are here to help you, to guide you into the steadiness and compassion it takes to make these transitions into new technology like AI.
Listen, your teams do not need to love artificial intelligence, although they might fall in love. They do not need to master every button. You don't have to know how to write code. They just need structured learning, space to ask questions, and support when they feel overwhelmed.
Your mission, HR, and professional development is very simple. Help them to adapt faster than the technology shifts, as it will. It's changing faster over and over again because the firms that move early are the ones who will thrive and who will rise first.
Let us be blunt. You may have heard of some of these companies. Blockbuster said no to live streaming. Kodak, if you heard of Kodak, said no to digital cameras. Sears, some people may not have heard of them, but they said no to reinvention. Now they're just simple shadows of their former glory because they said no. I want you to imagine what your job could be like in a year if you had the resources, the support, and the time to have the job that you've dreamed of, where would you be? Easier, faster, more efficient, and more money. Now, when you're thinking of that time in the future and you think of the time now, what is the difference between where you want to be and where you are today? So let me ask you this question. How much would it cost you if you did nothing and you ignored all of the technology that can make your dreams come true?
Yes, those companies, Kodak, Sears, and Blockbusters, they didn't fail because technology changed. They failed because they were unwilling to change. So now we want to make this real for you. We're going to bring up someone you may know, your HR leader who represents all of you, who's ever said, I do not have time to learn AI. So we're going to introduce a question by Sonia Johnson. Can we have your question, please? Okay, we were looking for it in the chat. Okay, I'm going to read the problem that as I have it, and let's see how close that will be. So Sonia has a problem that's very time consuming and stressful, and she works with employees um, who have been terminated. She deals with employers and employees, and this is a very urgent matter when people have been terminated, usually towards the end of the week. She has to deal with companies, organizations. She has forms to fill out, and she has to find out. Oh, here's the question here, I think. Okay, here's a question here. I deal with people. I deal with the process that both. There goes my eyes. Let me see. I need it to be bigger. To be like, let me make it bigger. I deal with a process that is both time consuming and stressful. We work with employees who are on the verge of termination following investigations, workplace conduct issues, or serious accusation. It is critical to get ahead of these matters because once an employee has been terminated, reviewing the investigation becomes far more difficult unless an external agency or the courts are involved. Here's the challenge. The cases arise out about 3 times a month, and each one triggers a frenzy of activity. And so we will have the expert to answer that, and we're hoping is Sharon here, present. Okay, so this is Sharon Kaur, and she is an AI expert, and she is going to be answering this question.
Thank you, Pamela, and thank you, Gray. Firstly, I've agreed with everything you've said. I've been an attorney for 25 years, made the transition into legal tech, and am now working very, very closely with AI. So I can absolutely help with this question. So with a lot of HR and with a lot of termination, there is a lot of, it's very process driven. If anything is very process driven and there is a lot of activities that you need to do, absolutely AI can help you. It starts with getting the incident report. So you have a report into why the termination has occurred. Put it into AI and ask it to summarize the key things in the reasons for the termination, the incident, the actions that have taken place. It will summarize it nicely, put it in a table for you. And then you'll have some kickoff actions. Your next question is going to be, draft an email to the attorney letting them know about this termination. It will rely on the information you've given it before. It will understand the context is the incident report. It will produce an email that cites the source, so the incident report. It will also put in the names of the principal or the company. So all those details are already captured. You don't need to type them again. And then the next thing is, depending on what the process is, if a power of attorney needs to be created, you can tell the AI to do this. And again, it will understand the context. It will understand who the parties are. It will produce a document. Now, that's just level one. You can just get the AI to do every step of this. The next stage of this, which is very exciting, is it depends on which customers or which clients you're working for and the type of process. So a unionized employee will probably follow a different process, and an employee not in the union will follow a different process. You can very easily create workflows, which means agents working in the background. That means when you get an incident report, all you need to do is click run a workflow, and it's going to do all the steps that you would be doing manually in a matter of minutes. So if it's taking you days to draft the email, to capture the information, to summarize it, to prepare reports, to analyze it, it's going to do it in a matter of minutes. And then it's also going to ship out those emails and those letters for you. So this particular use case is such a good candidate for AI. And I think we would be able to, given the urgency and the time it takes to actually get these things done, it would considerably speed up the process and take the stress out of it. I think there was another question that just came in.
Okay, if the employer is willing to work with an external organization like ours, the Society for Employee Relationships, we must prepare and send a request for review letter, obtain a power of attorney from the employee, request the investigation documents, and secure access to the policies and rules the employee is alleged to have violated. Most of the time, we also need to request short extensions, usually just a couple of days. On top of that, we have to identify the right contacts and complete multiple operations that needs to happen.
How can AI help with that, Sharon?
Sure. So I think with this one, it's just making sure you get the right information up front. So what you would do is kick off a process that will send it to the employer to collect all this information. So you'll have a question and answer session. So when that information is collated, it's going to come in a table format or whatever format your preference is. It will ship it to the HR party or whoever needs to carry on the investigation. You can do that as part of a workflow. So all those letters that need to be kicked off after the initial intake of the work that you're going to be doing, you can set up AI to actually say, well, the next process, and actually run the process to say, I need the review letters, I need the POA, I need the investigations report. So you have almost create a bundle or a pack of all the things that need to go alongside this particular termination. So again, taking the stress out of it, taking the sort of the time, the amount of effort that you need to make, the urgency, taking all that into account. AI is, in some cases, it's simply going to be a click of a button, particularly because this is process driven, to be able to sort of net whatever you need to do as part of the process.
Let me ask you, Sharon, when employers use this kind of software, do you personalize it for that company so that it follows all of their rules and procedures, and so you can make sure that they're following the company protocol and don't leave anything out?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Gray. And the short answer is Yes, every process is customized. So in most cases, you will have your own templates. You will have your own process. All you need to do is upload your templates, your forms, your questionnaires into the AI tool for the tool to capture the information and then plug it into the right forms. But the thing is, you go for platforms or go for AI solutions that allow you to do this yourself. Good AI is easy to use yourself. There is a learning curve, but the fact is, once you're on that learning curve and you know how to upload your templates, you have your own knowledge base, you have your own policies, your own headers, your own style. The tool learns from that, and then you can off you go with your own processes. So it isn't a generic. So I want to draw the distinction between tools like ChatGPT, which some of our listeners here may have used. It's very different from that, because go for tools that are legal specific, because we understand lawyers, we understand attorneys, we understand confidentiality, we understand that HR matters are very, very sensitive. So the real need to be able to focus on all of that, make sure that the data is locked in, making sure that it's your templates, fully customized. You can do that yourself. You can absolutely go to your AI provider, Newcode in our case, to do it. But it's so easy to do that you'll be able to do this in no time. We've had people who have sworn, having used ChatGPT, that they can't use it. But if you do it in bite-sized pieces, it is absolutely doable. So go for an AI provider. You could, for instance, like us, we actually take you on that journey with us. So we'll help you create your knowledge base, which is going to be your policies, your precedents, your documents, your format, your questionnaires. And we will build a process around that. But it is a customized solution. It's not a off-the-shelf solution that is going to be for one fit for all.
So if somebody in administration gets notice that there's a termination coming up and they need all of these documents and they've got to go search through all of these files, and a process that would normally take half a day, maybe longer, how long would it take with the software that you're talking about?
Sure. I mean, with Newcode, it's going to take a matter of minutes, because that's what the solution does. AI is very, very good at extracting information. So that's one of these key. Extraction, analysis, and summarization are some of the basic things tools can do. So Newcode can do that very, very easily. So where you would be trawling hundreds of documents, many, many records, previous disciplinary hearings, you'd be able to input that all upload that into Newcode, tell the tool, these is what I'm looking for. So I'm looking for the parties, I'm looking for non-compete, I'm looking for termination. It's going to actually automatically extract that data and have it presented to you without you needing to go and look at the document. Now, I know the next question is going to be, how do I know what the AI is showing me is actually in that document or is true? Because we've all heard about hallucination. And here's the beauty about Newcode. It's actually grounded in the documents you put in there. It's something we call explainability. So if I say the termination is 30 days, it's going to put a little button next to it to actually show me that if I click on this button, it's going to show me the exact document this is pulled from, the exact paragraph down to the sentence where the AI has pulled that information from. So when you make or take an action based on the information that's extracted, you can be entirely reassured that that information sits in those documents that you have uploaded into Newcode.
So
well, the thing is that they will, once she sets the knowledge base for this whole procedure, then once it's in the knowledge base, when these comes up, she's not starting from square one, which is what she's doing right now. She
Yep.
has a system that once she inputs the information, the knowledge base will automatically generate the emails, it will fill out the forms, it will do all the things that she used to have to take hours pouring through and all of that to try to communicate. It will self-populate the emails. It will self-populate the communications so that it will be a very, very easy process of something that used to take a half a day or to a day to 2 days to accomplish.
So I'm a lawyer, and I'm interested in how this might apply to law firms. Can this software handle, like complex litigation? Could it handle wills and trusts? Could it handle real estate transactions? Can it handle, all the different things that a law firm needs their software to do?
Sure. Short answer is yes. So I practice as an M&A attorney, and so I've been using the tool in my practice area. But I have colleagues who are in real estate, in commercial practice areas, in corporate restructuring. So the ability for a tool, a good tool, can be used. It's not hemmed in by the practice area. And you've just mentioned the knowledge base, and this is where the differentiation comes in. So different practice areas can create knowledge bases that are relevant to them. So say, for instance, for a real estate lawyer, they would probably want to know what the real estate rules are, or selling or buying commercial property, or parcels of land in different states. So if you create a knowledge base that says, and the knowledge base is, I want everything to do with real estate and property sale or renting property in New York, you would create a knowledge base. Now that knowledge base can be pulled in from Westlaw, it can be pulled in from LexisNexis, it can be practical law, it could be your own precedents, it could be articles that you've been writing. You create a knowledge base. So think about it in terms of a library that you are creating, because you and your colleagues need to keep going back in there, because that's where your research comes from. So think about having small little libraries for every practice area, and the ability to go in there and ask questions. But the beauty about knowledge bases is it's only ever going to look for answers within that knowledge base. So you don't need to worry about the AI going rogue, going to the internet, finding things and coming back and inserting them into your knowledge base, because it's actually a protected environment, which means the only way it's going to have more information, new information go in there is if you put it in there. So absolutely, you could use it for all different types of practice areas. I just created my own little knowledge base today, my little library on CCPA, because I do a lot of work with California, so I really need to know that. And that's brilliant. And then I was working with another colleague of mine who's doing a termination, a labor law matter, employment law matter in New York. And she's created a knowledge base about HR compliance in New York. She's going to keep going back in there, but she can also share it with her colleagues. So while she can access that information, she can say to her colleagues, I've created this fantastic library. Would you like access to it? That's the sort of thing, small steps will take you that much further. And the fact is, AI is now going to level the playing field. It's no longer the big boys playing with this. Tools like New Code, we specifically have come into the market to serve mid-tier and also boutique solo practitioners, because there's no reason they shouldn't have access to tools like New Code and AI, because they do just as important matters. They do just as complicated matters, and we need for them to be on that journey along with everybody else as well.
Can that help you with things like non-lawyer things like marketing and other things? Because I know that it's a real chore if you're involved in writing all of those posts for LinkedIn, or if you're writing all those posts for everything else, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all of that. Can this also help with that, so you don't have to spend half a day coming up with an article for what's going on in the world?
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. I'm writing a book, and I was having sort of writer's block blank page problem. And what I did is I went to New Code and I said, this is the book I want to write. It's on legal operations. Help me brainstorm some of the chapters. And it's given me a list of 10 chapters. And now I'm using that to trigger some thoughts. So now I have a structure. So the ability to do that. Another one of my colleagues, we work across lots of global offices. And this is a different use case, but they have all their policies in English, but they work with Mexican clients. They work with clients in France, in Spain, and they need to translate all those policies into a different language. To be able to do that at the click of a button, knowing it's all in a secure environment, is very, very powerful. Suddenly, your P&L isn't going to show translation agencies as a cost center because you don't need them to do it. You can use the tool to do it. So these tools are so powerful that it's no longer, I think it's a disservice to call them legal tech, because the entire organization, from marketing to IT, and we've got people using it for IT help desks. Your first port of call is the AI. I have this problem. How do I solve it? It'll take you through those steps. If you cannot solve the problem, then escalate it. But it's such a, these tools get me really, really excited because the use cases just keep coming.
Well, what I'm seeing is a whole lot of people who can go home at 5 o'clock and eat dinner with their family and go to birthday parties with their children or their loved ones and get all of this stuff done without having to work overtime anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not tied to your desk. I mean, today I had to do I was mentioning about the CCPA deep research that I did. I had that going in the background because it was pulling all this information. Deep research is a longer process because it's so comprehensive. And while I was doing that, I managed to make dinner for my little one. So it's helping me. So in the background, it's doing all the work. I mean, who wants to be sitting there trawling through encyclopedias, websites, when you have a tool that can do it for you?
Brilliant.
This is so exciting because, and number one, I wanted to thank Sonia for stepping up and asking the question. And the other thing is that what's so exciting is that New Code is designed specifically for the legal profession. And the fact that it is private, it's territorial for your particular organization, so that you don't have to worry about anyone else getting in or out of your database, and that each individual has the ability to build your own knowledge base, so that your routine tasks that you have to do all you have to do is upload the data, and it will do everything from create the emails to create the reports and to the inquiries and all of that in a few minutes, what used to take maybe a day or two. It's just a wonderful, wonderful tool, and it's designed specifically for lawyers, law firms. And the reason that we have you, the HR and professional development, it's for you too. It's going to make your jobs easier. It's going to simplify a lot of the tasks that you're doing. And so that's why we know that if you become familiar with it, it makes it a lot easier as you introduce these tools to your lawyers, and you will be the stars of the firm because you're bringing in information that's going to make the firm money, make the lawyers happier, cut down on hours, and make routine things that used to take hours and hours or days, routine push of a button, uploading information, and it'll automatically take care of the whole task for you.
So you're going to need to buy a superhero cape because everybody's going to want to celebrate what you've brought.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I can hear the smiles.
So is there anyone have any more questions before we move on? Sonia, did we answer your question?
She posted earlier that she was impressed.
Okay, very good. Sharon, thank you so much for being here with us.
No worries. Thank you very much.
So this is the wonderful thing about AI is that we want you to realize that this is for you. This is not just for the attorneys. This is for you in HR and human resources, that the task that you've been, having, just like was shared earlier, these things that come in and they're just time consuming and they're frustrating, how we have a tool, AI, that can really help you. So we want to leave you with a few things. One is that AI is simply the next chapter in a long story of legal evolution. Every chapter felt uncomfortable at first, but every chapter became essential.
AI is not about replacing people. It's about replacing exhaustion. And having been through a nervous breakdown, I can wish that I had this 20 years ago. But it will give you your life back.
Absolutely. And you will be the part of this legal evolution.
Lawyers thrive when they embrace the tools that give them more time, not more stress, more clarity, not more chaos, control. The future belongs to the firms that build AI-ready cultures, not through fear, but through training, compassion, and confidence.
We want to take this opportunity, Gray and I want to take the opportunity to thank you for being a part of this conversation, because it shows us who you are in the commitment to making the law firms you work for to be more efficient, more effective, and more profitable. So we are rooting for you. We're rooting for your teams. We're rooting for your growth. And we're rooting for your courage to take the next step.
And we'd like to pull up some slides that will explain what your next step is. All right. As a special thank you, we want to give you 2 exclusive bonuses for being here today. Bonus number 1 is a personalized demonstration of the new Code AI program you just heard about. So you can see exactly how AI can simplify your workflow, elevate your practice, and give you back hours of your day. Now, for the first 10 people to sign up for the free demonstration, we will give you a complimentary, no obligation analysis of your law firm's business model and law practice structure. Going into 2026, you're going to want to know what you're doing well and what you can improve. Discover the leaks and blocks that are preventing your firm's full growth. We will show you where you're leaving money on the table and how to build a practice that gives you impact, wealth, and freedom. And finally, if you sign up for these bonuses, we'll include a copy of our new book, Millionaire Lawpreneur Blueprint, and the companion workbook, which sets out some of the things that you can do to help your law firm get on the fast track. And they're all free. So click on the link, scan the QR code, and get your complimentary meeting scheduled today. Don't miss out on this incredible offer. If you can't click the link, or you don't have an ability to go scan the QR code, just take a screenshot and go. When you're at your station, you can log in.
We are so honored that you are here with us today, because this was a positive step in the right direction. We want you to know that these bonuses are something that we thought hard about. What could we give? How could we support HR and professional development to help them on their journey? So having that complimentary one-on-one training on how to use the AI so that you could see how it applies in your individual situation. And then if the first 10 people will get that analysis for your law firm. So we're very honored to be able to present these to you today.
And I hope that each and every one of you feels a little bit smarter. So thank you for visiting with us, enjoying this presentation, and I hope learning something new about artificial intelligence. So we will see you at our next presentation.